Hello, Spark here, and this is 1906 of the game Crowds in 2020. So, this year was a little more intense than last year in terms of diplomacy and not only tactics. So, let's start right out of bat with my relationships with Turkey. As I anticipated in the 1901 video, Turkey never responded to me after 1901 with a little exception. And in this year, I wanted to cooperate with Turkey. I saw how Turkey had made progress against Russia. But I didn't really give a good look at the board, and I didn't notice that Turkey had 4 fleets. So I basically said, do you want to help me against Russia? You have to place an army in Sevastopol. And then I looked at the board and I noticed that Turkey basically had 4 fleets. And I told basically Turkey, oh, you have 4 fleets. And then I didn't even bother continuing asking him anything. Not that that would have made a difference, because Turkey never got back at me, because that's his MO. So after that, I did talk to the new Austria, hoping in something more exciting, because the last Austria never answered to me. And this Austria actually answered. I asked Austria to go from Ionian Sea to Tunis, while he asked of me to intercede in some way, to speak to Italy for him, and to ask to support the army in Budapest to Trieste. And I did very eloquently, and Italy accepted. For once, Italy gave me a clear answer. I also continued basically talking about Russia, how powerful Russia was gonna be in this game, and how risky it was for us to let Russia grow. This is basically all propaganda at this point, because Russia, I realized that is gonna lose St. Petersburg to me, and he doesn't really have a clear path to a solo. It's more likely that I win, but I don't know, maybe another player doesn't see it. So I continued talking with France and with Italy about the Russian danger, floating this idea that Russia was a danger for the game, and asking Italy to attack Warsaw. Italy didn't respond to that, but he did respond with his acceptance in regards to helping Austria into Trieste, and saying he shared some of my concerns, so that's good. So basically, at this point of the game, my real concern, my real preoccupation is not managing to win, and actually being in a draw, because I can't really be at this point cut out of a draw. If some power in the north is gonna be in the draw, it's gonna be me. But I don't want to draw, I want to try to win. So Spain can actually stop me from taking my last centers, apparently. So I need a power in the south to help me, and that power is Austria. So that's why I'm asking Austria to go to Tunis. I am basically stating to Austria that Tunis is a place in which he can probably survive, and with this help from the south, I am hoping to manage to enter into the Mediterranean and then take out Spain, because I predicted that Spain will be the last stand against me and my solo. And basically, I am trying to enlist Austria as my third possible janissary, because Germany failed and Norway failed. Yeah, so Austria was cooperating with me. That's very good. And why did I intercede? Why did he need me to ask Italy to support Budapest to Trieste? I don't really know. But at this point, I feel like I'm controlling the board, and I am controlling Austria, trying to get him to basically let me win. And Austria is using Italy, or at least is enlisting Italy's help, while Italy is actually my enemy in the north, or at least the enemy of my French ally. And Italy was previously allied with Spain. So it's a big mess with me at the center without a clear enemy, and that's very good for me. Another player I talked with was Russia. Russia expressed his disappointment not in any rude or unkind way. He was very good at keeping emotions out of his press, but basically he noticed that I was going for St. Petersburg, and I told him straight up, yeah, that's my goal. Of course, that retreat from Sevastopol in Moscow is actually good now for Russia, because Russia now can support St. Petersburg. So Norway and Gulf of Bothnia are not enough to take St. Petersburg. I have to convoy London to Norway while moving Norway to Finland to ensure my taking of St. Petersburg, and I also have to move Denmark to Baltic Sea, because if Moscow moves to Livonia and Ukraine to Moscow, I can't take St. Petersburg even with 3 Finland, Gulf of Bothnia, and Norway. So I have to use 4 units to ensure St. Petersburg, which is the maximum, and that sucks a little bit, but that's okay. And basically Russia at this point says it sounds like you want to take St. Petersburg. I expressed to him the danger that Northern Russian fleet posed to me, and he said, I'm gonna let you take St. Petersburg, but in exchange I want you to take it with a fleet, or else I'm staying with you. And that's a bold statement, because he isn't really letting me take St. Petersburg. I am taking it by force. It can't stop me, because you can't stop a northern power from taking St. Petersburg from the south. That's impossible. And also the threat of stalemating me is an empty threat, and I answered to this with just this very short question, which is, wouldn't you stalemate me anyways? And that's the real question. I am not impressed by empty threats in diplomacy. I was impressed by those kind of threats in the past, and in my very first game, my ally threatened me to make my game hell if I ever stabbed him, and that was an empty threat. You should expect an ally to retaliate if you stab him. And that's why you should only stab if you can completely cripple or eliminate that ally. So I wasn't really impressed by that threat, but I didn't really say anything more that question, wouldn't you do it anyway? But other than that, we go on the Western Front, and on the Western Front, I managed to speak with Spain. Of course, you have certainly noticed since when I attacked, or at least I helped France attack Spain. I haven't really talked about my relationship with Spain, because my relation with Spain has been non-existent. And you have to understand that the players that talked more in this game were Spain, France, Germany, and Russia, and Norway. And Spain went completely silent after my betrayal, or after my decision, at least. And I basically just contacted him to ask why such a communicative player would go silent. Why didn't he even try to let me choose between him and France to make me change sides? And he basically answered, and he was not rude. Rude is the wrong word in this case, but he was a little bit harsh in his judgment towards me. He said, why even bother? I don't want to waste time. And he basically read my mind, stating that my plan was to use France as cannon fodder, or you could also call France a human shield against Spain. He said that France was basically suiciding into Spain while I was making gains in other places, and then I would attack France at the opportune moment. And nothing that Spain could have said to me might have changed that. Also, he said that France was blaming him for his apparent partial destruction and not me, even though I gave Spain permission to attack France. So that's what I meant in a video some years ago in this game when I said that Spain was driven throughout the game by my permission of attacking France, because after I gave him that permission, which was a pretty empty permission, he could have attacked France either way. He basically is saying that I was responsible for his attacks on France as much as him, and he doesn't want to trust me anymore. His game is just attack France in England, I don't care. And that's very short-sighted because he basically knows what I'm doing. He should have tried to communicate with France and to explain to France what I was doing and to try to make France an ally, but he didn't do it. He just was accusing me of the right things, and I said, yeah, but you're being a little unfair to me because I never lied to France, and if it wasn't for me, France would have been eliminated by now. So you have to consider this in your assessment. And also, even though we're fighting, there's no reason we can't talk about the game. Why close communication at all? And to this, he had a 180 change of mind. He said, okay, let's be friends, with a smiley face. So completely changed his tone. And he asked me to retreat from mid-Atlantic Ocean. And then we could have been friends. That's not what I want to do. I contacted him basically because I wanted to talk about the game and maybe extract some information, or I just enjoy sometimes talking about the game without any other intent. He interpreted that I wanted to work with him, and I basically said, no, that's not my intent, but I want to attack you. I said, I can't really attack you at this point. And that's it for now. He responded sarcastically, called me generous. So that didn't lead anywhere. And at this point, my assessment of the Spanish player is that he is a player who wants to communicate a lot when he has to gain something, but he doesn't really enjoy talking about a game with another player, especially if they're fighting. And I don't think that's the best way to see diplomacy, because in the future, who knows what communications with me could have brought him. Probably nothing, but you can never know. But he decided to act like this, and I decided it was a waste of my time at this point to try to talk to him, because I wouldn't really gain anything from it. Not some political gain, but also emotional gain, because I didn't really enjoy talking to him, and since we're enemies, why bother? After this exchange, the most important exchange it was with France. And with France, I told you in 1902 that my relationship with France deteriorated during the game and became more and more frustrating trying to work with him. And maybe that was a little unfair, because when I was doing the video on 1902, I was thinking at the last years of the game. So now I can say that except 1902, in which I had a wave of distrust towards France, it has been basically very easy to work with France in 1903 and 04 and 05, even though in 05 France, with these objections, which were very fair, he was trying to look out for himself. He shouldn't just give me his centers and win. But because of these objections, I didn't do the moves I would have liked to do, and I didn't take Paris and Tunis. Which would have been good for me. In this turn, it became even more difficult to communicate with France, because from now on, France will start to respond to messages very scarcely, with hours in between. I have to say I am European, Italian, so that's probably a reason, but that wasn't a problem until now. And also, he started asking a lot of questions. I have to say that he didn't say a word about me eliminating our ally Germany, and I actually apologized this year to Germany, and I explained my motives, and Germany said that's okay. But basically this year I wanted France to take Gascony with Brest. I wanted Brest to go to Gascony with support from Mid-Atlantic Ocean and Paris, while I was supporting the hold in Berlin. to avoid Italy taking Berlin, and I wanted Ruhr to hit Burgundy because with the set of moves I was proposing, if Burgundy would have supported Gascony to Paris, Paris would have fallen, and that's not what we want after all the trouble we've gone through against Spain. So he wasn't agreeing. I had, of course, to cover Belgium with Picardy because London was going to Norway. So basically, this move from Turkey forced me to go London to Norway, and that meant that the only way I could cover Belgium was with Picardy, and that meant that Picardy couldn't support Paris or go to Burgundy like France wanted, and I had to repeat myself multiple times about my intentions of going Picardy to Belgium because I couldn't use London. He insisted multiple times to cover London to Belgium, nothing to do there. I had to explain to him that I wanted to attack St. Petersburg and a lot of stuff. He really wanted to attack Munich for some reason with Ruhr, and he didn't want to move to Burgundy and cut support. So that was a really difficult turn, and in the end I told him the moves I wanted him to do, like I usually was doing at this point of the game, just stating the moves I wanted, and I appealed to the trust that had formed between us. Let's see what happened after the end of the turn. Yeah, so France didn't do what he should have done, so Ruhr didn't cut Burgundy. I did the right move to cover Belgium because Burgundy was trying to go to Belgium, but Spain didn't do the right move, which was to attack Paris with Gascony with support from Burgundy. That would have worked because Ruhr didn't cut support from Burgundy, but of course Spain couldn't know that. And at that point, basically, I was posing myself to capture St. Petersburg, and in this turn, France asked, why did I go to Baltic Sea? Of course, he's worried that I can take Berlin if I want to, probably. And I said the Baltic Sea was here to prevent any sort of support from Livonia. If Russia did move to Livonia this turn, I could have cut it, and now Baltic Sea is going to Livonia to avoid any sort of retreat from this fleet. And that's not true because at this point I have planned my stab on France. I have decided that the ideal moment in which I can strike France and take basically all his centers or almost all his centers is in a year from now, in 1907. And I was really frustrated that it was becoming so difficult to communicate with France just before the stab, because I didn't want our trust to deteriorate before the stab. I wanted my stab to be effective. In this turn, France basically insisted multiple times on this move to Baltic Sea, and also after we took Gascony, he wanted to attack Burgundy with Paris, with support from Picardy and Ruhr, why not Sea, would have gone to Belgium. And this set of moves is not the set of moves I want, because I want to move to Belgium with Picardy, because I want to be in position to attack Ruhr next year. So basically I'm positioning to stab France, and he is right to ask other moves. So it's a little unfair to describe France as a frustrating player. He's a good player, and I am frustrated because he is being rightly suspicious. I would have preferred if he was a little more naive. So I basically said I couldn't support him into Burgundy, nor move to Burgundy myself from Picardy. I used as an excuse that Paris should just support on Gascony, because after all the effort to gain Gascony would have been an ugly loss to lose Gascony again. So that's why how I convinced him to move to support on Gascony and not to move Paris to Burgundy. And I told him how the Austrian move in Tunis was orchestrated by me, and now this year Spain will have to disband something, and then we have a better way to attack Spain and take the centers. I was promising, of course, Spain and Marseille to France, with me basically taking Portugal, or maybe me taking Portugal and Spain. We didn't plan the specifics of that. And I was planning to take St. Petersburg. I talked to Italy. I said, I see you're a man of your word, because he did support Budapest to Trieste. I hope we can work in the future. And the Italian response was the standard one: I'm open to all possibilities. He always responds like that. And we can see that Russia is advancing in Romania while losing Bulgaria, and in Austria as well. So after a lot of discussion on moves and a lot of bickering between me and France, we agreed on a set of moves that was favorable to me. And in the end, he asked, can you at least eat Burgundy with Picardy? And I didn't actually respond to that, because I wanted to move to Belgium, and I wanted to leave North Sea here to convoy to Holland. So basically, I am positioning for a stab, and I don't want to justify myself with France at this point. So I was frustrated, and I was beginning to respond less and less to France, and to be ever more cryptic in our messages, and to reduce myself to stating moves. But that's okay. Of course, France was rightly suspicious. I don't have anything to complain on that point. And I should let you know of this support I supported into Gascony. Of course, the support was cut, but remember this support for later years. So yeah, that's what happened in the autumn of 1906. I took St. Petersburg with an army. I didn't really promise anything to Russia. I said I was considering taking St. Petersburg with a fleet, and I didn't do it because of the off chance I might have had a possibility of taking Moscow, and I took Livonia to avoid any retreat from the fleet in St. Petersburg. Russia actually built 2 units, even losing St. Petersburg, because of his gains in Sevastopol, Romania, Budapest, and Austria actually didn't take Trieste, but took Serbia. It's the same. Turkey loses a center, but wins because of 2 destroys, and wins an army, fortunately. And Austria didn't lose anything, but at this point, with only Serbia that it's gonna be taken by Russia sooner or later, this is the only unit that counts for Austria. And of course, this unit counts a lot for me. I am planning to use Austria for my benefit and my win, if I can take it. So yeah, this was 1906, a year of preparation for what was coming in 1907. And I hope that that plan will go to fruition. So a devastating stab on France, and then I have to fight with Spain and conquer Spain. And that will be enough to win. We'll see how that goes next year. We'll see each other in 1907.